Welcome to the Call of Bliss Podcast, and I'm super excited to have you guys on this podcast. Welcome to the very first episode of Call of Bliss Podcast. My name is Abayomi Shueton, also known as Yomi Tra-Dez. In this episode, I will be talking about why I wrote the book in first place and the story behind the book, the story behind why I wrote the book. And for those who don't know, this podcast is actually an extension of the book that I wrote, Call of Bliss. It's available on Amazon, and I would like you to check it out. Okay, so like I said before, we'll be talking about why I wrote the book and the story behind it. I've always wanted to start a podcast anyway, so it wasn't something new. I've always wanted to start a podcast, but I didn't even know what topic to start with. But since I wrote the book and this can actually help, put the book out there, I'm like, okay, why not? Why don't I, give it a shot and see how it goes? So, um, the very first chapter of the book is Whisper of Bliss, recognizing the call. But before then, I would like to talk about why I wrote the book in the first place. So, why I wrote the book Call of Bliss is because I feel like a lot of us are actually chasing the wrong things. We are overly chasing material success. We are overly chasing people's validation, people's opinion about us. We're constantly chasing things that don't really matter in the long run, right? So this is the reason why I wrote the book, because I feel like the more we constantly chase these things, the more sad we are. And it's I myself, I am guilty of it. I'm not here trying to say, oh, I'm one, holier than thou, or an expert in this. No, I wrote this book because I feel like it can serve as a reminder to people and myself as well, right? And which brings me to the story behind why I wrote the book. So it's a very short and straight to the point story, but it's a really very nice one because it changed the way I thought about my passion for writing. Okay, so the story behind the book is, okay, so one day I was at work, and a colleague of mine, a female, she was sitting next to me at my right hand side, and she told another colleague, a male who was sitting in front of her, to take a picture of her, that she wants to take a picture, and then they used my phone. He used my phone to take a picture of her, and the picture was really nice. When I go back my phone, I saw the picture and I was like, wow, this picture is really nice. Bro, you have to take my own picture too. So he took my picture and he took some of the pictures and it turned out really nice. And the lady beside me said that, wow, this is nice. And you look like an author in this picture. It's giving an author's vibe. And we just kind of like laughed about it and like, oh yeah. But when I got home in the evening, I was going through my phone and I saw the picture. So I uploaded the picture on my WhatsApp story. And I captioned it like, this picture is giving author's vibes. I'm tempted to write a book. And I got some funny feedback. Some people were like teasing me, like, just the usual. Yes, some people say, yeah, I should actually write a book, But one comment really caught my attention. Like, one comment caught my attention. And the comment was, a lady just said, titled Call of Bliss. And immediately I saw that comment, I was like, like light bulb just in my head. Like, and I felt like I really resonated with the name Call of Bliss, right? Because I used to be back then I used to worry a lot. I think a lot. I worry, 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 worry. And it actually came at the point where I started to worry less, and then I just started to, I don't know how to put it. Everything just started making more sense when I kind of left all the burden to God. Like, okay, just letting go, just allowing things to work out the way they're supposed to. We're not supposed to worry about tomorrow. We're not designed to worry about tomorrow, right? Because if you worry about tomorrow, tomorrow would still come and it will come the way it's supposed to. So your worrying was all for nothing. So when I saw the comment that she made, Call of Bliss, immediately I just started writing. I posted it on my WhatsApp story as well. Yeah, the people on my WhatsApp story, they kind of know this story I'm saying already, but I'm saying this again for those who are not, close to me and don't have my number to view my WhatsApp status. So I also shared the story on X, on Twitter. So um so I just started writing. I just started writing. So writing for me wasn't really a new thing, particularly because I'm already used to writing songs. Because I make music, I am used to writing, short movie scripts and all of that. So it wasn't really much of. So I just immediately I jumped into writing. So the Call of Bliss, I took it like a project, basically like a project. When you are in school and they ask you to do a project or an assignment, you go and do research on it. So the Call of Bliss is not a book that I wrote basically based on my story. You know, I don't really have any personal story in the book. It's more like research. Okay, so Call of Bliss. Okay, so what is bliss all about? I did a research on that. What are the challenges people face? Why don't people live a blissful life? Okay, so those are the challenges. So what steps can we take to overcome those challenges? So I did a lot of research to then put in the book called Call of Bliss. And that was how Call of Bliss came to light. And like I said before, this is an extension of the book. I've always wanted to start a podcast. I wrote it somewhere that I would like to start a podcast, but I didn't even know what podcast, like what niche or title or topic or what my podcast would be basically. And so I was actually thinking of doing a podcast for this, and then a friend of mine also suggested, why don't you even do a podcast for this your Call of Bliss book? I was like, okay, someone else is thinking in my direction. Boom, I immediately jumped, and this is the first episode of Call of Bliss, and I'm really really excited. At least uh part of my goals are coming to life. I'm writing a book, I'm doing a podcast, and who knows? Only God knows. And the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. Basically, we don't know what God has in store for us. So, welcome again to the first episode of Call of Bliss, and so I'll be talking about the first chapter of the book, which says "Whisper of Bliss, recognizing the call." That's the first chapter of the book. So maybe every episode I'll be talking about one chapter each. I don't know. I really don't know. But this podcast would not be totally based on the book, right? We might want to explore other topics as well. So the whisper of bliss, like, have you ever felt like there is something more for you out there? Have you ever felt like there's something, there has to be more than just getting through the day? Like, you wake up, you do your regular activities, you go to work, maybe you do this, you do that, you go back to bed, you sleep, you wake up. Like, have you ever felt like there should be something more than all this I'm doing? That is the whisper of bliss. right? So bliss itself doesn't shout, it just whispers. You just feel it's kind of, is there something I'm not doing right? Is there something more for me? Is there something greater for me out there? So that is the whisper of bliss. Have you ever felt like your spirit is telling you to do something, like write a book, record that song, write that, release that music, go for that audition, go for that singing, dancing, painting, acting audition, apply for that job role, take that course, take that, uh, apply for this, apply for that, you know, go and take that exam, start that podcast, start that YouTube channel you've always wanted to start that, have you ever, and then you tend to ignore it, you tend to downplay the feeling, and then it goes for a while, but then every now and then it keeps coming back, and then you're feeling, but maybe you're scared of starting afresh or starting and then failing, or overthinking the entire thing. Like this podcast, for instance, now I'm just doing it like I'm just flying with whatever idea that comes into my head. I'm not overthinking, because down the, like, way before, like I said before, I used to overthink and overstress myself. But I figured out whenever I just do my thing and let it flow naturally, it just makes more sense. So I don't even know what episode 2 would be like, but I know, and I'm trusting God, and I'm trusting the gifts that He has bestowed in me, that it will still turn out well. You don't have to figure everything out immediately. Just keep on going, keep on moving. So, so that is the whisper of bliss, right? It just kind of nudges you to the right direction, to what you're supposed to be doing. But, and you're not alone on this. I myself, I'm guilty. Like I said before, I'm not one expert in this. This book is also a reminder for me as well, right? It's also a reminder for me as well. So it's not just about, how do I say it? So it's not just about, so it's not just you alone that ignores this call. Majority of us ignore this call. Now, we're going to talk about how to recognize it. You recognize it in a way, how you recognize this call is when it keeps coming back. It comes to you, you brush it off. It fades away. It comes to you again, you brush it off. If you keep having that feeling that it keeps coming back once in a while, that is how you recognize that this is the call of bliss. This is something that you would do and you would be happy. This is something that you do and years later you will be glad you did them. This is something that you would do, and on your deathbed you're like, oh, at least I gave it my all. I did my best. So that is how you recognize the call of bliss. So before I wrap this up, I would like to ask, when was the last time you did something that made your heart race in the best way possible? When was the last time you did something and you felt pure joy? Think about it for a moment. You can drop it in the comment section and I will definitely reply. So just tell me, when was the last time you felt so much joy? When was the last time you did something that made your heart race in the best way? Drop a comment below and I would definitely respond. Now we have come to the end of the very first episode of Call of Bliss Podcast, and I hope you found this informative. I hope you found this insightful. I know most of the things that I said, or even all of the things I said, it's something that is not new to you. But sometimes we need that constant reminder. We need that reminder to actually keep us on track. And that's what I'm doing. That is the reason why I'm doing this. And I really hope it's worth it. I really hope someone out there is actually benefiting from this podcast. And we have come to the end of the very first podcast of Call of Bliss. Looking forward to seeing you in episode 2. If you would like to get the book Call of Bliss, it's available on Amazon. Click the link in the description to get it. And please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Cheers. Bye for now.